things that make this population act totally overwhelmed. In other words, I find that when giving an assignment, the simple assignment, let's have you do a research project on Borneo and have it in 6 weeks. Can't do it. Can't do it. Because they can't break it down. See, first, you've got to find the books on Borneo. Then you've got to read them. Then you've got to outline. Then you have to figure out what form are you going to write it as a book report or do it as a project or whatever. But it's the breaking down process. See, then you have all of us try and follow you through some dance steps.
Yeah, I'm going to be your mirror. So I'm going to do just the opposite of what you're going to do. So if I do this, what are you going to do? Then I do this, what happens? Now I'm bringing this one in, then I'm bringing this one in. So which one I take out first? That one. Then I take out this one. Then I bring this one in, and I bring that one in. Now reverse it. Reverse it. Reverse it. Reverse it. Did I do that? And then use the easy right left hand you use. Then you say which arm you took out first, that's the arm you're going to bring back in first.
So once you break it down, it's manageable.
That's right. I have to break it down from all those different ways.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
I have to break it down. Every way everybody perceives it, I have to find out which way to perceive it and give it to them.
Yeah.
And that's what's the hard part.
In a wood workshop, Dieter always has the children draw a picture, no matter how primitive it is, of what it is they're going to make. They have trouble figuring out what comes next, whether it's the sequence of how you build it. He has to go back to the drawing all the time. And then before they can take home this, they have to teach another child how to do it, or tell the teacher how to do it in a way that somebody could replicate it. So this is trying to ensure that things are broken down and that they can break them down and build them up again. Have you any examples of this? Go ahead, Amy.
One of the things I try to target is calculation. It's definitely a multi-step process, and it's not internal for our children. Oftentimes, they'll missequence steps or they'll omit steps, and they have to either be verbalized or they have to be written down for the student to refer to. So something as simple as 52 plus 29, they don't have the internal system to recognize the sign and then start at the ones column, move to the tens column. I have a lot of kids who will just start with the tens column, then move to the ones column, and then rectify it if you need to carry in the ones column.
In the Renaissance Club, at the end of every project, I have the students review the sequence of steps that they did during the project. And I do that by first brainstorming on a piece of paper all of the different activities we did as part of that project. And they always come up with them in different orders. It's never sequential. But then what I do is assign each of those steps to each student and have them draw a picture of each step, all separately. And then I have them all come together and line up those pictures in the order that the activity happened. And then they have to go through and verbally explain using order words. I teach them words not first, second, third, next, last, finally, and so forth, and have them go through each of those steps in order to review the project. And I find that not only helps them remember the project, but also they get much better the next time we do that on the next project. They're able to remember more steps and put them in the correct order right off the bat.
Good, and in some classrooms, I remember for the little tiny ones, we usually have picture schedules. And that way they would remember what they were supposed to do first, next, and last that day. Another subject that I wanted to get into was how important it is when you've got 80% of children with learning disabilities having language difficulties, but these are language-based learning disabilities. How important it is that we listen to ourselves in the kind of instructions we did. For example, I think very often we say, I'd like you to go upstairs, and while you're up there, it would really be nice if you would close the window, and then once you close the window, why don't you come on down back here? Now, what could I have said instead of that?
Go upstairs,
Go upstairs,
close the window,
close the window,
come back down.
come back down. And if necessary, say again, the first step was go upstairs. What was the second step? I was going to come down. Now, what happens here is we have got to be able to clean up our own brains and make it possible for children to do this. I'm going to ask Roya if she would give you some directions, and then you tell how those work. Roya, would you come on up? Thanks.
After شما به خیر class. امروز میخوام در مورد انتخاب ریسرچ پیپرهای شما با شما صحبت کنم. اولا شما 3 هفته وقت برای تهیه این پیپر دارید. همچنین میتوانید نتایج اطلاعات خودتون رو حالا بذاریم در مورد تاپیک های ریسرچ پیپرتون با شما صحبت کنم.
Thank you very much. What was she telling you?
I think Roya asked us to write a research paper on avalanches, and she said to use the library and the internet as resources, and we could present the research paper in the form of a collage.
Roya, what were you saying?
I was just giving you instructions in terms of how to write a research paper, and the research paper includes, yes, the resources, such as internet, library, or interviewing people. And then I was, at the end, I suggested let's pick your topic for your research paper.
Now, do you think that's similar to what our children hear sometimes? Pieces, fragments. And the fragments sometimes don't get together right. And certainly with jokes they don't get together.
With some of the youngest children, when they draw pictures of the grown-ups, they have very big mouth spots and teeth. You can almost see them as you're giving directions going, blah, 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 blah. So we really try to learn to use fewer words and slower. Stop. Instead of, I need you to stop right now because, please stop.
Our children make animated films in the high school. And one of them, I remember, they have somebody showing physics and mathematical examples.